A team that becomes a championship caliber team, puts together a 10-plus win streak during the course of a season. And that gives them that feeling like, no one can beat us. We can walk on the court, home or road, and beat everybody. And that's what we have to do at some point during this year to really prove to ourselves again that we're invincible.
Look at Scottie Pippen dominates. Where did he come from?
Scottie told me yesterday in New Jersey that he has been told, he didn't say by whom, that he will not be traded this year. When you re-signed your contract, were you given assurances that this was going to be the team that Scottie Pippen would not be traded?
What was told to me was that when the Bulls made the decision not to go for the trade on draft day and move Scottie Pippen, that they had opted for returning the team back in the next season. But to get Scottie back and to get him 100%, we had to really face up to the prospects of dickering with this guy's future and say, hey, this is a team we want. We spent all the money for him to come back and for us to come back together, and he's back.
You put out the word the other day that Michael Jordan might come back next year with the Bulls as player-coach. You came into New York recently and kind of put out, a little word that, hey, maybe Jordan will come and play for the Knicks next year. Are you having fun with this, Phil?
The question was asked, if he says he's going to retire, if you're not back to coach next year, what scenario do you think he would come back to play? And that was my answer to the question, that if he could coach the team himself, because then he wouldn't have to learn a new system, he could just continue on with his basketball club. The proposition that Michael might go to New York, I think that's probably the only place Michael would go to play besides Chicago, and I think he's a dyed-in-the-wool Chicago Bull.
Do you need a year off to recoup and to recharge your body? I heard you even might need a hip operation after this year.
All great considerations. I think everybody needs a year off after they've coached in this league for 5 years, 6 years. They would like to have a year off. Anybody wants to pay a sabbatical year out there for an NBA coach so that he can take a year off and then come back to his job? I'm willing to be up for that job.
Phil, I know you've said that this is your last year as Bulls coach, but would there be any set of circumstances that would bring you back? I read recently where you said that if you were asked, you might say yes, and then Jerry Krause kind of put the kibosh on that and said this is your farewell tour.
Looks like it is. Bye-bye.
So Phil Jackson obviously not too emotionally distraught about the prospect of leaving Chicago, although of course he'd love to go out a winner. And John, you played for him in 1996. What kind of unique individual is this coach?
He is definitely a great guy. I mean, he deals with you mentally, physically. I mean, he sat around one time after we lost to Toronto, and this was the year we weren't supposed to lose, the greatest team ever, and he had incense burning when we got inside the video room because he wanted to get all the evil spirits out of us so we wouldn't lose our next game. And then it turned into a meditation thing. I mean, sitting next to Michael and Scottie and everybody's, he's a deep cat, man. He's a very deep cat.
Players buy into it.
Oh, you have to. You have to. If you want to win, and they've been winning, you have to buy into Phil. Works
for him. Peter, you asked him about where he'd like to coach next season, and there were some fantasies here in the New York area, possibly about the former Knick coming back to coach here. Is that a reality?
No, I don't believe so, because I don't think New York is the kind of lifestyle that Phil is looking to get back into. He told us that he prefers the open spaces of Denver or Utah. But I think it'll depend on what job opens up for him. If one of those jobs, Denver or Utah, opened up, or if the Lakers happen to open up, then I don't think.
The '97 Finals, memorable for everyone, but bittersweet for the Utah Jazz. They were haunted by missed chances and last-second heroics. Trampled by the Bulls in Chicago, the Utah Jazz called upon a familiar duo to lead them back from a 2-game deficit. Stockton to Malone, and the series was tied at 2. The momentum may have shifted to Utah, but only one team has Michael Jordan. His airness arose from his sickbed in Game 5 to lead a Bulls recovery. And in Game 6, the Jazz finally went quiet. The Bulls celebrated their 5th title in 7 years. For Karl Malone, none in 12. Now, it's a new season, but the goal remains the same. Today, the Jazz face a familiar rival, seeking a different outcome.
This is the NBA on NBC. The game of the week. Today, it's the Utah Jazz versus the Chicago Bulls.
This will be the 512th consecutive sellout for a Chicago Bulls home game, and today they meet the Utah Jazz for the first time since last June's NBA Finals. Hi, everybody. Bob Costas along with Isaiah Thomas. And Zeke, as much as the Jazz may try to downplay it, this game means something extra for them today.
Oh, it means a lot to them. And if you're Stockton and Malone, you've been chasing this ring for a long time. You've played more playoff games than anybody in this league. And you got to remember, every time you come back into the Chicago Stadium, your blood has to start boiling because this is a team that stopped you from getting the ring. You remember Michael Jordan jumping on the stands, the confetti coming down in your hair. You remember all that, and that type of emotion comes back into you, and this really becomes your Game 7.
We're looking forward to it. Quickly, update on Dennis Rodman, who was a naughty boy this week. He is expected to play, but he will not start. Jason Caffey will open. We're back with lineups and the tip-off in a moment. The lineups for the Jazz and the Bulls in this, their first meeting since last year's finals. Stockton is back. He's only now playing heavy minutes. That accounts for why his points and assists aren't up to his career standards. They're 16-6 since he came back. They were 11-7 while he was out. Adam Keefe has moved into a starting spot at forward, but Brian Russell actually sees more minutes than Keefe coming off the bench. Karl Malone is second in the league behind Michael Jordan, trailing him by 4 points in the scoring race. For Chicago, the backcourt of Jordan leading the league at 29-4, and that's come up about 3 points in the last 6 weeks. And Harper and Caffey in it forward for Rodman, who is expected to play, but as part of his ongoing punishment, he will not start. Pippen averaging about 17.5 since his return. This will be his 8th game since he came back. Phil Jackson with the highest regular season and playoff coaching percentage in NBA history. And Jerry Sloan, who has never been the NBA Coach of the Year, but has consistently been among the league's best. Began his career as a coach here with the Chicago Bulls in the late 70s, early 80s. Coached the Bulls for 3 years before becoming a Jazz assistant. And eventually, after Frank Layden stepped down, he was elevated to the top spot. The Bulls have lost only 5 home games in the last 3 years, and none of them against a Western Conference team. 38-0 at home against the West, including 4 victories last season at the expense of the Jazz. 1 in the regular season and games 1, 2, and 6 here in the finals.
You can see the look on the guys' faces. They're looking at this game as, you know, a test. They want to see where everybody's at during the regular season. This could be one of the finals matchups. This could be one of the teams that they're playing against. And all the memories now are coming back to all these guys from last year.
And the tip to Utah. The officials are Steve Javie, David Jones, and Sean Corbin. Stockton from Malone.
Now, Stockton's a tough guy on the team. You know, he's really the mental guy on the team. He supplies the mental toughness, and he comes out and he gets them started. He's, you know, everybody talks about Malone being a tough guy, but Stockton's really the toughest guy on their basketball team, mentally and physically.
Pippen off Harper's pass, ties it at 2, just a step inside the three-point line.
And Scotty's coming out, and he wants to send a message also.
Caffey draws the defensive assignment on Malone. Stockton misses this one. And Jordan has the rebound.
Now let's see if Chicago tries to use the same strategy that they used in last year's finals when they would post Jordan up against Hornacek in the low post.
Longley shot it too long, and the rebound to Hornacek on a bounce. Stockton. Malone's first shot. Keefe trying to keep it alive, but Harper has it. Pippen through the lane, and then to Caffey out of the corner. Misses on the run, ball out of bounds to Utah.
Well, it's interesting that they didn't start Rodman today. Caffey is matched up against Karl Malone. They haven't tried to exploit that matchup yet. Let's see if they'll try to exploit that matchup early in the game between Malone and Caffey.
Stockton bounces to Hornacek, who misses off the baseline. Harper has it. Caffey bumped by Malone and a whistle. The foul is on Malone. Many ways to express the frustration that the Jazz felt a year ago in the finals. In 3 of the 4 games they lost, they held the lead a combined 129 of 144 minutes. Jordan's first shot is there.
Michael Jordan is going to come out and try to establish himself early. He wants to see how they're going to play him, if they're going to play him in a low post, if they're going to double team him, if they're going to run guys at him, if they're going to leave Hornacek guarding him one-on-one.
Jordan on Hornacek, finds Malone through the lane with a little hook that ties the game at 4.
Now Malone should be able to get anything that he wants on Jason Caffey underneath.
Game 2 of last year's finals here as Pippen unleashes a 3 that's too long, and it's taken down by Hornacek. That was a blowout for Chicago. Their other 3 wins were all close, and Utah could have won any of them and led in all of them. Keefe misses, and Caffey has it. In fact, led most of the way in all 3 of those games. They blew a 16-point first-half lead in Game 5 at home. Longley left alone and making Utah pay for it.
They double-teamed Michael Jordan coming off the pick and roll, left Luke Longley open, and he made him pay.
Karl Malone.
Now that was a great feed by John Stockton. He read the screen. He read the guy trying to come over the top. Malone back cut him, and he hit him right off the dribble.
4 for Malone. Game tied at 6. Harper. It rims out, and Malone has the rebound. Hornacek weaves his way through a crowd and then lobs it back up top for Stockton. 10 on the 24. Malone with the fadeaway, and he's got it.
He should be able to use that all day. You know, Karl Malone is one of those guys, you know, where he can take a basket. Not only does he take it, you know, sometimes he'll gangster a basket where he just uses his strength to just overpower the guy.
Caffey missed, but kept it alive, and the Bulls set it up again. Jordan's 3 rims out, and Ostertag has the rebound. Utah leads it 8-6. 7.5 to play in the first. Caffey trying to guard Malone, and this one comes up short. Jordan wheels around Hornacek and hits it over Ostertag despite the bump, and he comes to the line.
Nice move, nice move. He put his body on Hornacek and froze him and then spun to the baseline. And the thing that makes this play work is he spun on him baseline, gave him a little hit, and he took the bounce from Ostertag and hung in the air. We talked about Jordan's strength last week. You know, he's a guy that, you know, most people don't realize how strong he is. He takes the bumps, he takes the hits, and he goes to the line and he finishes.
Three-point play gives Chicago a 1-point lead.
Now they put a little pressure on after the free throw to try to take the ball out of Stockton's hands, and Utah comes back and makes him pay for it.
Breaking the press easily, and Ostertag with the slam. Jordan. This one's long. Keefe is there to clear the boards. Hornacek around Jordan and then hammered as he takes it to the hoop. Before he comes to the line, we'll step away. You're watching the NBA on NBC. Low moments in the finals against the Bulls, especially here. Missed 2 free throws with 9 seconds left in a tie game in Game 1. Shot 6 for 20 from the field in Game 2. Only 1 for 6 from the field in the second half of Game 5, in which he made only 7 of 15 free throws. He had a huge game in Game 3 at home, 37 points and 10 rebounds. But generally, in the finals, he didn't play to the same standard he'd established throughout his career, and especially in his MVP season. Last year at the free throw line, he shot 75% for the year, but in the finals, only 60%. And this year, he's back to 74% from the line. The missed free throws alone might have been the difference in the outcome for the championship.
But that definitely was the difference for him. You know, championships are won and lost at the free throw line. And Karl Malone has struggled a lot in the past in the playoffs at the free throw line. And I'd be interested to know if he went home and practiced shooting free throws or if that bothered him over the summer.
Hornacek, who was fouled by Caffey before the timeout, makes them both. One of the league's best free throw shooters, nearly 90%. Jazz up 12-9. Jordan turns and fires over Hornacek.
But they're going to have to make a decision earlier. They're going to double team Jordan in the low post, or they're going to let him have that shot.
Michael has 7. Stockton to Malone. And then he gets it back. Harper's on him. Malone from the foul line. Way off.
See, I think Malone should be underneath the basket now, trying to establish himself in a low post.
Caffey. Back up to Harper and Jordan. Long with this one. Caffey skies for the rebound. And then Ostertag shoves it back at his face. Here comes Stockton back the other way. Pulls up and then flings it out to Hornacek. Tough shot and an air ball. Grabbed by Keefe and then knocked away from him and taken by Longley. Pippen with the pull-up. Jordan up on the boards. Hornacek and Jordan really jostling. Fakes him and then shoots over him from the baseline.
Hornacek is just giving up too much size to Jordan down there. He battles hard, but Jordan is just a little bit stronger than he is and a lot taller, and they're going to have to double team him.
Malone into a crowd, slapped away, but Stockton finishes it. The Jazz by 1. Pippen unleashes a 3, and it's there.
Yeah, Pippen's another guy who has a mismatch out on the court. He's being guarded by Adam Keefe. He can go around him. He can take him outside. He can do a lot of things around Keefe.
Malone again, and hit from behind and fouled.
Well, Michael's having, a flashback from last year's finals where he wasn't double teamed much, and he knows that he can get it over Hornacek anytime he wants. So he spent on him a couple of times or below. Now he's going to just fade him here on the baseline and shoot it right over him. Hornacek being a shorter player than Jordan, not having the leaping ability that Jordan has. Jordan can get his shot off on him anytime that he wants.
The foul was on Caffey, who now goes out with 2 fouls, and here comes Rodman.
Thank you.
Few, if any, boos greet him. And a pretty decent round of applause.
Well, the fans understand Dennis. You know, they've lived with him now for the last 4 or 5 years, and they understand him now. And so does his teammates and Phil Jackson's. And he's just a different kind of player, and he's a different kind of person.
Randy Brown is into the backcourt with Harper taking a seat. Tied at 16. Howard Isley is in the game as well. And he picks up the foul on Brown. Isley, who played pretty well in the 16 games John Stockton missed as a starter, now coming off the bench.
You know, Howard Isley was a camper in my camp, and he was also a coach at my camp. You know, so I know Howard Isley really well.
Longley's shot is short. Rodman scrambling for the rebound. Out of bounds to the Utah Jazz.
You know, Rodman's going to try to come in and establish himself early, going to try to get into the game, you know, get a few bumps, get a few bruises. He likes to mix it up a lot.
A whistle away from the ball. And Jordan picks up the foul.
Now, Mako is going to try to shut Hornacek down. Hornacek moves without the ball. He moves without it well, sets Michael up, fakes him off the screen, and Michael grabs him by the arm, and the referee caught him.
Isley around Brown. Bounces to Keith, who slams it home.
Nice by Howard Isley. Penetrating dish. Classic.
Jazz back up by 2. Malone pokes it away from Longley, and Hornacek has it. Hornacek takes it all the way and then misses it. But it's tipped home by Keith, trailing the play.
Now, that was a great fast break, and what allowed Hornacek to be able to go down the middle of the lane is that they ran their lanes wide, and you had the trailer and Adam Keith following up.
Pippen. And Ostertag with a rebound. Ostertag was atrocious the first few months of the season. He's taken to saying that was my evil twin. The last 2 or 3 weeks, he's played better. Malone.
Well, if you're Utah, you come into this building and you're seeing red. You know, you want to reestablish yourself. You want everybody to know that, hey, we were the team that was supposed to win the NBA Finals last year, not Chicago.
Utah's on an 8-0 run, and Randy Brown can't put an end to it. But Longley can. The Jazz by 4. Malone has 10 of their 22 points. Malone juggles it, and Longley picks it up. Brown's got Jordan on his right, and Michael will finish it.
Well, Michael's one of the greatest finishers who've ever played in the game. He knows how to run the lane. He knows how to give himself space, and Randy Brown, seeing that he was coming, dished it right off to him.
Jordan has 11. And Brown hooks Hornacek and picks up the foul. Timeout, and we'll be back.
Back to the United Center, I'm Lisa Woloski. I spoke with Bulls coach Phil Jackson before the game. He said Dennis did not play Friday because he didn't think Dennis was ready to play basketball that night. He determined Dennis had been deceptive and had lied to him about why he was out so late and why he was a no-show at shoot-around. I asked Phil if this latest incident had disrupted the team at all, and he said, no, Lisa, it didn't disrupt us. He said Dennis is just being Dennis. And by the way, Bob, if the Bulls win today, Phil Jackson will be headed to New York City to coach the East in the All-Star game February 8th. Back to you.
All right, Lisa, thanks a lot. If, however, Utah wins today, then the honor of coaching the Eastern All-Stars goes to the Pacers rookie coach Larry Bird. Howard Isley with a nice move.
That's a good move by Howard Isley because he used his body well to the position of defender off, so he couldn't block his shot.
Utah leads it by 4, coming up to a minute to play in the first. Jordan. And Malone clears the boards.
come out with great energy. They've established themselves in the first quarter. They've had a good first quarter, and they've got to be able to do this for 3 more quarters.
Jordan on Hornacek, 2 on the 24. He has to force it, and he hits it.
You know, that's Jeff Hornacek. His dad is in the stands today, and he and I, you know, his dad was the dean of students at my high school, and he gave me my first paddle.
Little corporal punishment. Brown from Jordan behind Longley's screen. High arcer is in and out and then back in again.
You know, following up on Hornacek, you know, he wasn't much of a high school player. He wasn't recruited highly or anything. He went to Iowa State. He got drafted by the Phoenix Suns, and he made himself into a pro. He's one of the finest shooters in the game today, and it's only because of hard work.
Isley with the last shot of the quarter. It's off the back iron. And Utah has to settle for a 4-point lead after 1. Something on Michael Jordan's mind. We're not sure exactly what. After 1 in Chicago, the Jazz leading the Bulls 26-22, and you're watching the NBA on NBC.
Hey, kid.
Yeah?
Get the Super Bowl stuff to San Diego on time, and don't mess it up.
I'm on top of it. Top of the world, looking down on creation, and the only explanation I can find is the love that I found since you've been around. Your love. Oh my goodness! Oh my!
When you made the lane change. Now,
need official Super Bowl merchandise? Go to superbowl.com.
Oh no.
An IBM e-business.
For many fans, it is a dream come true. Honey Barbecue Wings are back at KFC in time for the big games. Bring home 6 wing pieces for $1.99, 20 for $5.99, only at KFC.
Today,
in the Atlantic Fleet,
on board USS Enterprise, character was forged.
Valor was commended. Minds were enlightened.
Lessons were learned.
Fears were conquered.
Worlds were discovered.
Honor was defined. Courage was found. Commitment was sealed.
Today on board USS Enterprise,
over 5,000 journeys began anew.
What did you do?
What did you do today?
Call 1-800-USA-NAVY. Let the journey begin.
You're watching the NBA on NBC.
This being Super Bowl Sunday, as you may know, there are all sorts of exotic bets that you can make on a Super Bowl game. Who'll score the first touchdown, combined points, whatever it may be, scores after each quarter. And you can also place a bet as to who will score the most points today, Michael Jordan or the Green Bay Packers. You could make a bet, at least a few days ago, on who would have the higher total, Rodman's rebounds or the Denver Broncos point total. They may have taken that off the board, though, with Rodman's difficulties the past couple of days. He hasn't pulled in a rebound yet today. Longley, as we begin the second quarter, misses on the run. It'll still be Chicago ball.
Now, what Chicago is trying to do, they're trying to get Ostertag involved in the pick and roll because Ostertag has slow feet. Tony Kukoc can drive around him, and that has freed Luke Longley up. He blew the layup that time, but watch for them trying to get Ostertag in the pick and rolls to take him out of the way from the basket.
Rodman with the shot, and it isn't there. Ostertag has it. Rodman declared a couple of days ago that with this week's incident, he's virtually certain that he's blown any chance he might have had of being selected for the All-Star team, since the reserves are voted on by the coaches, who generally tend to disapprove of people who have unexcused absences. Randy Brown back. Kukoc in the game. Knocked away from him and stolen, but Isley's on the end line. Let's check how the Big Four are doing so far. 4 of the 50 greatest of all time.
Well, you got Malone and Jordan, you know, who are really establishing themselves as the two MVPs of this league. You got Stockton and you got Pippen, you know, the supporting cast. They're carrying their weight. This game at the end is still going to come down to Michael Jordan and Karl Malone.
Oh, Luke.
Jordan on the bench at the start of the second period. Pippen with a 20-footer. Line drive rebound, scooped up by Brian Russell. Antoine Carr loses it, and Kukoc has it for Chicago. Stockton, Malone, and Hornacek all out as the second period begins for Utah. Longley into the lane, and Ostertag got a piece of it, and Carr is there to pick it up.
You're not going to be able to get that shot off over Ostertag. You're going to have to make him move. You're not going to be able to just turn around and shoot over him. He's too good a shot blocker.
Russell's three is no good. Brian Russell may have been one of those most affected by the line being moved back. Brown is fouled as Carr was there. Shandon Anderson was also in the vicinity.
Now, when you look at Shandon Anderson, you know that I played with his brother Willie Anderson, and he was also a member of the Toronto Raptors, and he looks just like his older brother Willie. You know, if you put those two next to each other, you wouldn't really be able to tell who's who. He even wears Willie's number.
The foul was on Antoine Carr.
I bet they had some battles in the backyard.
1 of 2 for Randy Brown. 26-23 Utah. Shandon Anderson with some bad memories of his last trip into this building. He had 3 separate chances for layups or dunks late in the fourth quarter. Pippen blocked one of them. He blew the other 2.
Yeah, he was a rookie then, though. You know, I remember.
Here he is, and it doesn't drop for him. Ostertag follows out of bounds to Utah. 9:46 to play in the half. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
Heat Knicks, then Bulls Lakers, next Sunday on NBC.
Budweiser. I can't believe they went with the frogs.
Louis.
Our audition was flawless.
Louis.
We did the look. Huh? We did the tongue thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was great.
Louis, frogs sell beer. That's it, man. #1 rule of marketing.
The Budweiser Lizards. We could have been huge.
Hey, there'll be other auditions.
Oh, yeah, for what? This was Budweiser, buddy.
No.
This was big. Those frogs are going to pay.
Let it go, Louis. Let it go.
I could never make decisions, and now I'm in a bind. A snack of fries, shakes, or pies. I can't make up my mind.
Did somebody say McDonald's?
Honey, we won.
Huh?
A home entertainment center, recliner, and $500 for a party.
Snickers is giving away the living room of your dreams or nightmares.
What'd we win?
Oh, nothing.
Snickers. Why wait? Win something. It is grounded in the belief that for ideas to take flight, they must have wings. The all-new Chrysler Concorde LXI, combining remarkable agility with a 225 horsepower engine so advanced, it provides more power yet uses less fuel. Chrysler Concorde, built on the belief that great cars appeal to a more passionate side. Chrysler, engineered to be great cars.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for a crisp, clean, classic taste. By Chrysler Corporation, where building great cars and great trucks is what we're all about. And by Reebok, makers of DMX Air that moves as fast as Iverson can.
Now there's Shandon Anderson there, and if you remember last year, he struggled a little bit in the finals, but I remember Dennis Rodman having those same struggles in the finals, but came back to turn out to be one of the best pros to ever play in the game today, and I think Shandon is on his way to becoming a good pro because he had a good learning experience last year in the finals.
Rodman rebounded, Isley's miss. Randy Brown is open, and that's the first field goal for either team. in this second quarter. The Bulls to within 1. Kukoc, Rodman, Pippen, Jordan, and Brown on the floor now for Chicago. Carr backing in, and his turnaround is short. The rebound to Scotty.
Now, Antoine Carr is a very good post-up player. You know, he has a size and a strength advantage on Tony Kukoc down there in the low post.
A two-pointer for Kukoc, a couple of inches inside the line.
And the counter, what Tony would try to do in this matchup here is take him outside because Antoine can't move his feet.
Isley into the lane, and he ends an 0 for 6 drought from the floor in this quarter for Utah. Kukoc again. And again, just barely inside the line. A very streaky player. If he gets off, he can stay in the groove.
Oh, yeah, he can get into a thing. He can get hot, you know, and Antoine Carr is going to have to come up on him. The dilemma is when you come up on him, he's quick enough to go around you.
Carr hits a 15-footer, and Utah creeps back in front by 1, 30-29.
But Antoine's accepted the challenge, so what you have is a little mini shootout going on between Antoine and Tony Kukoc right now.
Russell on Pippen. Rodman screening for him. Scotty has daylight.
Now with Pippen, Jordan, and Kukoc out on the court at the same time, you got the top 3 scorers, and they present a lot of mismatches for teams because those 3 guys can take you off the dribble and also hit the outside shot.
Same spot for Antoine Carr again.
Well, you know, Antoine Carr had the nickname in high school, a Slam Antonio, but he's proven today that he can shoot the J also. He was one of the great leapers.
36-year-old veteran out of Wichita State. They played him quite a bit at center with Ostertag struggling. Pippen doesn't get the dunk, but he's fouled.
That was a beautiful fake by Scottie Pippen. He faked him right and then came back to the baseline and took off in the air. You know, what really makes this play happen here is he give him the fake right. You see that little fake? And now he comes and he takes off in the air. Ostertag does the smart thing and grabs him and don't let him finish the dunk because that's a big momentum play there.
Foul is on Ostertag. It's his second. Malone back in for Utah. And thanks to NBA.com, All-Star Weekend is only a click away. NBA.com is online with complete All-Star Weekend coverage, live chats, games, contests, player profiles, event previews, a virtual jam session, and more, all from the NBA's official website, www.nba.com. 1 of 2 for Pippen. The rebound to Malone. Stockton also back in, guarded by Jordan. Around the Malone screen, and Malone fouls Jordan.
Now that was a good call by the referee. You know, Malone backed into him. Jordan went underneath the screen, and Jordan goes underneath the screen, and you'll watch Karl Malone. Now he'll back right back into him to get him off the dot right there.
That's the second for Carl. Tied at 32. Jordan from Longley, loose ball to the floor. Longley has it, and now Michael is free.
Great hustle by Longley. So you got matchups problems for Utah all over the court now.
But Antoine Carr has a hot hand.
Antoine is hot. He's in the thing. You know, he's accepted the challenge. You know, he's one of the veterans who've been around for a long time, and he's just like John Stockton and Karl Malone. He's chasing that ring also.
Jordan's turnaround. He's got 15. Sprinting back, though, getting ahead of the pack is Shandon Anderson for the easy basket.
He said, I won't miss this one. But see what you have for Chicago right now. You know, Phil Jackson has done a very clever thing here. You know, he's manipulated his lineup so he can get the mismatches that he wants.
Longley off a terrific no-look pass from Jordan.
But they got to double-team Jordan now because he's being guarded by Stockton in the low post. Pippen has mismatches. Kukoc has mismatches. There's mismatches all over the court. You know, that's a smart thing that Phil Jackson just did.
Carr finally missed one. The ball out of bounds to Chicago, but first a timeout with the Bulls up by 2. As we look at the leading scorers, worth mentioning, that Antoine Carr at age 36 had to be talked out of retirement by Jerry Sloan before this season. And he's been very useful. With Ostertag struggling, they've used him a lot at center. At 6'9", he's undersized for that spot and tends to get into foul trouble, but still he's given them minutes there. Of course, his true position is power forward.
Well, Jerry Sloan understands the importance of Antoine Carr's mentality. It's the mental that he brings to the basketball game as opposed to the physical. You know, his savvy veteranship, his gamesmanship, understanding how to win at the end of basketball games. That's what Jerry Sloan really likes in Antoine Carr.
Pippen off the Kukoc pass, swoop to the hoop, and he puts it in with the left hand.
That's sweet. That's sweet. When you can do that right-handed and left-handed, all the young kids, when you go to the basket, you got to be able to use your right hand and your left hand.
Bulls by 4. Malone's pass deflected out of bounds, and the Bulls touched it last.
You know, we're looking at Jerry Sloan here. I remember when I was a little kid standing outside of the stadium. He probably doesn't remember this, but he gave me his shoes. They were a size 14, and I remember I took them home and wore them. I put on like 8 pair of socks.
Here's Antoine Carr. Out to Brian Russell. Russell in a crowd, forces it up. It's a brick, but the rebound belongs to Shandon Anderson, and the second-year man from Georgia sticks it back in.
And forgive me if I call him Willie and make a mistake every now and then because he looks so much like Willie. But, you know, back to Jerry Sloan, you know, here in the stadium, you know, this is a rough side of town. And Jerry Sloan was one of those guys that when he came out of the stadium, nobody messed with him, nobody talked to him. I was brave enough that day to say, hey, Jerry, can I have your shoes?
And he was nice enough to say yes.
But he didn't give them to me. He just kind of threw them over to me.
Well, that's good enough. You still had them. How long did they last for you?
Well, we see Rodman here. And he's a little frustrated right now. You know, he's a little overmatched by Malone. Stockton's been giving him a couple of shots, and he and Stockton has a little thing, so he reaches out and grabs Stockton. If you remember a couple of years back when he was playing with San Antonio, he and Stockton kind of got into it, and I think that was one of the games the league suspended Rodman.
Kukoc saves it in, and Pippen has it. And then Scotty's fouled. In fact, that was when Rodman undercut Chambers and I believe also tripped up Stockton, and both moves were viewed as the kind of plays that potentially could cause an injury, and it drew a suspension.
Yeah, but, you know, and what Dennis was saying in his defense, he was saying, well, you know, Stockton gets up under me and he sets all these hard screens.
Pippen.
And a lot of times people look at John Stockton and they don't realize how strong and how tough he is.
Utah loses it at the other end. And with 4:12 to play in the half, the Bulls have the ball and a 4-point lead.
You know, if there's two guys on this Utah team that you wouldn't want to get in a tangle with, it's probably Jerry Sloan and John Stockton, and then Karl Malone.
When Sloan was half of that backcourt with Norm Van Leer here in Chicago, there wasn't a tougher duo in the league. Kukoc to Longley, off the baseline, no.
Stockton has a Norm Van Leer attitude about himself. You know, he carries himself in such a way that he doesn't take any crap out on the court. He gives a lot of stuff, and he doesn't back down from any challenge. You see him guard Michael Jordan here, and he's not going to back down. That's the thing that you love about John Stockton.
Utah touched it last as it went out. Chicago ball. Shandon Anderson to the bench. Jeff Hornacek back in for the Jazz. Pippen with the head fake, slices through the lane, now finds Jordan. 17 for Michael.
And see, Stockton's a gambler, too. That time he ran off of Jordan, left him alone. They found Jordan in the corner, and they made him pay.
Longley on Malone. Carl shoots over him and misses. Rodman has the rebound. He brings it out of the backcourt, then finds Kukoc. Longley from Rodman. And the tip by Pippen.
They're killing them on the boards right now. If you're Karl Malone, you got to get inside the post. You can't shoot jump shots.
Chicago with the game's biggest lead. They're up 8. And Utah stops the clock. All right, Hannah, thanks a lot. Chicago has outscored Utah 24-12 in this second period. Stockton, guarded by Jordan, finds Malone.
That's where he has to be. He has to be inside.
Malone has a dozen. No two teammates have played together this long in the NBA of any stature. We're talking about reserves, great players, future Hall of Famers like Stockton and Malone or anywhere in between. No two players have played this long as teammates on the same team in the NBA without winning a championship in the history of the league.
Well, they're dedicated to the chase. They're dedicated to the cause of trying to win a championship ring. And those two have a commitment to each other.
Who coached for three?
You got problems, with this lineup. Where do you come off? Who do you help? You got mismatches with Tony, Jordan, and Pippen.
Hornacek with a rainbow, no good, but he was fouled. Just a reminder, in case you weren't aware of this, the Super Bowl is later today, and it's on NBC. It begins with a 2.5-hour pregame show. Sterling Sharp's career with the Packers cut short by injury. But now, in a sense, he gets to go to the Super Bowl through his brother Shannon, the Broncos tight end. Also, Bill Romanowski goes one-on-one with Chris Collinsworth. And then, Elway and the Broncos, Favre of the Packers, Super Bowl 32, starting with the pregame show after the basketball on NBC. In the spirit of the day, perhaps we should express the score as we move along in Roman numerals. Utah has XXXXI right now, and it stays there after the rare free throw missed by Hornacek.
Yeah, that's unusual that Jeff Hornacek will miss a free throw. He probably won't miss another one for another month now.
Jordan just inside the line, and it rims out. Malone has the rebound. Stockton lobs it to Malone. How many times has that been the case?
That's where he has to be. He can't mess around with 15-foot jump shots and 18-foot jump shots. He has to be underneath the basket, and if he doesn't use his finesse, he's got to gangster it. He's got to take a basket.
14 from Malone. Pippen misses the three. Rodman with the tip. That doesn't fall. Kukoc has the loose ball. And finally, it's Russell out of the pack for Utah. Stockton to Malone.
Nice.
Oh, he can't finish it.
That was a great fake by Stockton to give Malone that pass.
Pippen racing back, finding Jordan over Stockton, using the glass, but no. Kukoc to follow. Batted away by Ostertag. And now Russell will slow it down.
Chicago's very active on the offensive glass.
Last minute of the half. Utah down 6. Stockton into the lane, and the floater is no good. Rodman has the rebound. Kukoc. Fouled by Hornacek. When Stockton covers Jordan, as he has for the past several minutes, now admittedly, nobody, I don't care, you take the greatest defensive player who's ever played, no one's going to shut Jordan down. But Stockton is not the defensive player he once was. He'll still get steals, but he's lost some quickness, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, he never was a great on-the-ball defender. He was always a good off-the-ball defender where he would run around and gamble and steal the ball a lot. But on the ball, he struggles a little bit.
Neither team over the foul limit. Chicago ball out of bounds. Pippen into the lane, whistle before he can get it away. He used an elbow to free himself, and he picks up his second foul. And a technical foul on Pippen for protesting the call.
Yeah, well, he felt that he didn't really, elbow Hornacek the way he thought he did. He felt that he was pushed before the contact. And Jeff Hornacek has this ritual at the free throw line where he rubs his cheek, then he wipes his hands on his pants, and then he goes and he shoots a swish. But you see they're playing a little bump right there. Hornacek reached in, and actually Pippen was going on the drive. I don't know about that one. I think the ref may have blew that one.
Malone with all kinds of room, and he puts it down. Malone now with 16, and the Jazz are back to within 3. Shot clock overlapping the game clock. a three that's short. Hornacek has it. They've still got 7 seconds. Hornacek lets it go. Way off. Malone puts it home, and he's fouled. Well, how about that? They've got a chance to tie with 1.8 on the clock.
Karl Malone is having a great half. You know, he's streaking down the court here. Hornacek pulls up. He knows the shot clock. He gets in position to finish this. Now go to the line and have a chance to make the free throw. Now, he struggled here last year from the free throw line, and they got the signs in the background again that goes clank, miss, and everything else. And let's see if he pays attention to those signs or if he has the nerve to stand up there and make this free throw.
Looking for his 19th point. He's passed Jordan, who has 17, and he can tie the game with this. Last shot, if they can get it off, it'll be Jordan. Didn't miss by much. Well, the Jazz down 49-40. Goes on a 9-0 run to tie it at the half. And we'll bring you Hannah Storm with the Prudential Halftime Report after these messages. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
The NBA All-Star Game just 2 weeks from today in New York City. The final results in the McDonald's All-Star voting were released minutes ago. And starting for the East, to no one's surprise, the top vote getter once again was Michael Jordan, the only player to receive more than 1 million votes. He'll be joined in the East backcourt by the injured Penny Hardaway. Up front, the Pistons' Grant Hill earns his 4th All-Star berth. He tallied the most votes among all forwards in the league. Joining Hill on the front court, Sean Kemp of the Cavaliers. In the middle, Atlanta's Dikembe Mutombo. For the West, a player who hasn't started a game this season for his own team starts in the All-Star game. Kobe Bryant of the Lakers, at age 19, the youngest All-Star ever, joined in the backcourt by Seattle's Gary Payton. Another of the league's young stars, Minnesota's Kevin Garnett, starts at forward. It will be the 21-year-old's first All-Star appearance. The other forward is last year's league MVP, Karl Malone, and in the middle, Bryant's teammate, Shaquille O'Neal. Obviously, the starting lineups will change if indeed Penny Hardaway is still injured and unable to play. Then Commissioner David Stern will name his replacement on the team, and then whoever's the coach of the Eastern Conference All-Stars will decide who starts in that spot. What do you think will happen if he can't go?
Well, I talked to Magic GM John Gabriel earlier this week, and he told me that he was with Penny down in Houston where he's rehabbing. Penny would like to come back before the All-Star game, but doesn't think that he will come back. So in light of that, I'm going to make my job easier for me. First of all, I think that I only vote for my criteria, Hannah. My criteria is I only vote for players whose teams are over 500, never under. Okay, we got that straight?
Okay, so that's why no Antoine
Walker, and also no Glenn Robinson. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Scottie Pippen, who's only played, what, 8 games so far in his 8 games?
No Rod Strickland on there either.
No Rod Strickland, right.
Okay, what about the West? Who do you like for your reserves?
Well, I have the very, very great Charles Barkley. I have to say that since I dogged him before. Vin Baker, who just took over Seattle. We got David Robinson. He's going to be sitting next to Tim Duncan on the bench, and they'll probably come off together. John Stockton and my man from Brooklyn, New York, Stephon Marbury, and the kid of all kids, Jason Kidd. I think we're going to win this year.
All right, that'll be interesting. We'll see. George Karl's going to be the coach. He hasn't won in his previous 2 head coaching trips to the All-Star game. The irony here, first time at Madison Square Garden in 3 decades is the All-Star game. It doesn't look like if any of the New York Knicks will be All-Stars. The Bulls and the Jazz are tied at 49. We send you back to Chicago for the second half, right after these messages from your local station.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential, bringing strength and stability to America's families through insurance, healthcare, real estate, and financial services.
We're back at the United Center. The Bulls led by 9 in the waning moments of the first half, but Utah went on a 9-0 run, so we'll start with an even slate in the second half. You said that Utah would approach this like their Game 7. Hard to rationalize that it would count for as much, but it means something emotionally.
Well, as much as they try to make this a regular season game, when you're Utah, you walk into this building, all those memories come back into you, and your emotions just flood, and this becomes your Game 7. And they've come out with the type of emotion and the type of intensity that they should have had in Game 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
That would be all of them. Nice countdown. Let's take a look at the Miller Lite halftime stats. See what the numbers show us. Karl Malone, as we look at those 7 of 8 free throws, has hit all 3 of his opportunities from the foul line. His poor free throw shooting was part of the reason they weren't able to unseat the Bulls in last year's finals. And this is his shot chart from the floor.
Well, Karl Malone has had big success in here. You know, this is the area that he likes to work in, you know, inside the paint. He's going outside and hit a couple of 15-foot shots, but his area is right inside the paint.
And the Bulls, and we'll take a look at Michael Jordan individually. He had 17 points to Malone's 19. And let's see where they came from.
You know, Michael Jordan, he puts them up from everywhere. He gets them inside, outside. You know, you look at his shot chart, and it comes from all over the place. You know, he's a guy that can score from a lot of different positions. And right now, he and Karl Malone are still having a little personal battle between who's the best player in the NBA.
A half left to decide this one, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to the United Center. I'm Lisa Milowski. We've got a tie ball game. Jazz, Bulls knotted up at 49 at the half. I talked with both coaches at the half. Utah coach Jerry Sloan, very happy with the first half. He did have one complaint. He said we were getting beaten on the offensive boards. Key to the second half, control the pace of the game. Phil Jackson said simply, the key is second half chance. Back to you, Bob.
Thanks, Lisa. As we prepare to start the second half, a look at some of the leaders. Malone's three-point play to close the half tied the game and gave him the leadership at the halfway point over Jordan for game-high scoring honors. Chicago ball as the third quarter begins. Rodman starts the second half. He did not start the game. Jason Caffey did. Rodman came off the bench and had 8 first-half rebounds. Here's Harper muscling one up. He's averaging just over 9 points a game. That's as close to double figures as he's ever been as a member of this team. With the Cavaliers and the Clippers, he was a consistent 20-point scorer earlier in his career. Here's Stockton. And Stockton reties it at 51. Pippen guarded by Keith. Fires over it. It rims out and Ostertag has it. Stockton to the front court. Before missing the first 16 games of this season, he'd missed only 4 in the previous 13 years. Rodman with the steal.
Well, Stockton's an Iron Man, and we got Rodman matched up on Karl Malone right now. And let's see if Utah can continue to exploit the matchup of having Malone inside. They call that a force out on Ostertag. You can't call force out anymore, so that becomes a foul.
And it's the third on Ostertag, the big 4 in the first half.
Well, you look at what jumps right out at you is the points by Malone, Jordan, and Pippen, and Stockton's 4 points. But you don't measure Stockton's strength in terms of points. You measure his strength in terms of controlling the tempo and the amount of assists that he has.
Harper slices through, and Longley is there to clean it up.
But Chicago's attacking the basket right now. They're getting all the offensive taps. And Jerry Sloan is a little frustrated about that because, as Lisa said to us earlier, that's what they didn't want to have happen.
And so they asked for a 20-second timeout. Gives me a chance to ask you about this. Kobe Bryant has been named as a starter for the Western Conference in the All-Star game. He comes off the bench for his own team. We'll see him up close next week in Los Angeles, the Bulls and the Lakers.
Well, Kobe doesn't even start for the Lakers, but he's the people's choice, and that's what the All-Star game is all about. The fans vote who they want to see in the game. It's their game. It's their time for excitement. But I'm going to tell all the All-Stars who are coming, if you're going to play in the All-Star game, bring your lunch. Put on the show. Don't come there acting cool. Come there to play.
How do you feel if you're Nick Van Exel or Eddie Jones with Bryant getting the start?
Oh, you're happy for him. You're happy for any time a teammate gets named to the All-Star team. It's not a jealousy thing with any of those guys. I'm sure they are very happy for him.
Malone's foul line jumper is short. Rodman has the rebound. Rodman averaged only about 7.5 rebounds a game in the finals after averaging 16 a game for the year last season. An 14-footer no good, and Ostertag pulls it down.
Well, that was a good shot by Dennis. You know, he has to keep the defense honest. They dropped off of him. He had a nice shot. Had good rotation on the ball. He has to take that shot.
Utah loses it, and Chicago will have it up by a basket with 9:54 to play in the third quarter.
You know, Chicago felt last year in the finals that if they could just stay close to Utah, that in the end of the game, their experience would show. Utah led in a lot of those games, but Chicago took over at the end.
Jordan just forces his way through there, and now he has 19. Here's Hornacek to the left hand, fouled by Longley.
Now what Jordan just did at the other end down there, we call that gangster in the basket, where you just take a basket. There's no finesse. He just backs him down and it's all power. I'm just going to take it. You know, that's what we call, you know, he's just gangster. He just took the basket.
At the other end, after the Longley foul, Hornacek is at the line. He missed one in the first half. It's about a week's quota of misses, but here's his second of the afternoon.
Now let's watch Hornacek's routine here at the free throw line. You know, even though he missed the free throw, he'll come back and he'll have the same routine. He gets his forehead, does his cheeks 2-3 times. Now he'll wipe on the pants. 1, 2, 3. Get his little bounce.
1 out of 2. Began the day third in the league behind Chris Mullen of Indiana and Christian Laettner of Atlanta in free throw percentage. Just shy of 90%, but he's missed a couple today. Malone playing Rodman loosely. Hornacek up on Jordan. And he fouled him as Michael made his move.
You know, we're looking here at Hornacek, and we talked about his routine earlier at the foul line. It's very important to establish some type of routine at the foul line because it keeps you in a rhythm. And when you miss a foul shot, it's important that you come back and keep your same routine.
Jordan fouled as he let it go. Stockton picks it up. It's his first.
Now, Utah has picked up 3 team fouls earlier right here in the game. And what Chicago would try to do, they would try to come down and get into the penalty and try to get Utah's 4th, 5th foul before the 6-minute mark so they can parade to the free throw line for the rest of the third quarter.
When they were able to hold Michael reasonably in check, that is to 24 points a game, those were the 2 games. Games 3 and 4 in Salt Lake City that Utah managed to win. He has 21 points today. Malone bounces off Longley, hits the basket, plus the free throw is coming.
That's Karl Malone. Attack, attack, attack. Everything he has to do is to be going to the basket, attacking. That's when he's most effective. He's able to use his strength, take the bump, take the hit, and finish and follow through. When he shoots the fade away, going away from the basket, he's not as effective as he is attacking. He has to make Luke Longley move his feet and continue to attack the basket.
Malone perfect on 4 free throws today. 22 points for the afternoon. The foul on Longley was his 3rd. He's fouled out of 6 games this year, the most disqualifications in the league. Stockton on Harper. Pops it over him, and it's short. Longley puts it back in.
Good battle underneath there between Longley and Ostertag. Those 2 guys are banging bodies and knocking each other around, and you see Ron Harper gets a steal right there.
Longley's basket a moment ago sent him into double figures with 10. Harper open for a 3 from the corner, and it's way off.
They've made the adjustment at halftime that they're going to come double team Michael Jordan off of Ron Harper's man. Now Ron Harper should be free for open shots, and he has to make Utah pay for leaving him.
Malone given room by Longley and swishing it.
He's feeling it right now. He's got into a thing. He's got his rhythm going. He's got his legs up underneath him. Luke Longley didn't come up to challenge the shot.
24 for Malone, who averages 25.5. Jordan to the foul line, double pumps, and misses off the back iron. Longley again, and it spins out. Bulls doing a good job on the boards. With Rodman out, they were out-rebounded 54-34 on Friday night by the Nets, even though they won the game in overtime. And Jason Williams, who's second in the league in rebounding, behind Rodman, had 23 boards that night.
Well, Chicago's made a very conscious effort here to attack the boards. You know, they're using their athleticism, their jumping ability to go over the Utah defenders, and they're making a very conscious effort to go inside and attack the board.
Malone inside, faking Longley, but then he can't finish it. A whistle blows, however, and there's a Chicago foul. And Longley now has 4. Joe Klein is on the injured list with a sore knee. Bill Wennington, however, has been activated, so we may see him if Longley continues in foul trouble. There's Wennington back in uniform. Next Sunday, the NBA on NBC continues. A doubleheader beginning at 12:30 Eastern with Showtime. In Game 1, Mourning and Riley and the Heat invade New York to battle John Starks and the Knicks. Then in Game 2, Michael and the Bulls facing Shaq, Kobe Bryant, and the Lakers. The NBA on NBC doubleheader next Sunday, 12:30 Eastern Time. Malone hits the first, and before he takes the second, there's a timeout. And we'll be right back.
Go to the net, NBA.com.
I don't have much time.
Okay, say flight from prosecution.
On February 6th, international action star Chow Yun-fat is coming to America to do what he does best.
I'll need guns.
From executive producer John Woo, Chow Yun-fat, Academy Award winner Mira Sorvino. The Replacement Killers, directed by Antoine Fuqua. Rated R. Opens February 6th.
Miller Genuine Draft presents even more basketball.
The two MVPs doing it all here today. Malone's leading his Utah team with the inside and the outside game. Jordan coming back on the other 10 on the other side with the hesitate to pump. These two guys are doing it all here today, and they're giving the fans and you a show on NBC.
And in recognition of this look inside the game, Miller Beer will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. As we resume, Karl Malone back at the line where he's hit all 5 today. He's got 7 rebounds to go with those 25 points. This could tie it at 59.
You see, every player has a different routine at the free throw line. You just seen Karl Malone kind of go through his routine. And, you know, that helps when you're struggling. It also helps to get you in the rhythm and stay in your rhythm when you got it going, too.
Although it didn't help him last year in the finals. The Jazz with 2 of the more distinctive routines in the league on their team, Hornacek and Malone. Longley, better range than most centers, but that was a brick. Jordan comes out of there with the rebound. Fakes Hornacek off his feet and then swishes it home.
The fundamentals, the simple fundamentals, the pump fake, wait till he flies by you, goes up and sticks the shot with perfect form.
To give him 23. Stockton slings it out to Malone, and now Hornacek on the wing. 5 on the 24. Ostertag to Keefe, knocked away from him, but a foul.
You know, Michael Jordan has all the moves. You know, everybody concentrates on his great moves, but look at the simple things. Just a little easy pump fake, lines it up, gets himself square, and goes up in perfect form. That's what makes him the great player. It's not the flashy things. It's the little simple things that he does. It's his fundamental base combined with his skill base that makes him the greatest player to ever play.
And you say that without hesitation.
Without hesitation.
You weren't always convinced. There was a point maybe midway through his career where you wouldn't have given him that honor, but eventually he won you over, right?
Well, when you're playing against him, you know you're not going to say that because you got to come out and compete against him. But now sitting over here in the mic and being out of the game for 3 or 4 years and watching what he's done over the last couple of years, without question, this guy's the greatest that I've ever seen play.
Keith makes 2 free throws after the foul on Jordan, which was Michael's second. He's right back, and MJ's shot is short, but the tip is there for Ron Harper, who goes down hard, but now gathers himself. Terrific play by Harper. Here's Keith inside off a tremendous left-hand pass from Stockton.
You know, people always ask me who was the best player. Was it Bird? Was it Magic? Was it Jordan? My response is always Jordan was the best, Magic was the smartest, and Bird was the toughest.
Tied at 63. Watch the last Chicago basket.
Yeah, it comes off the screen right here, and you'll see him square up and shoot the shot. But what makes this play is the follow-up by Harper, knifing in. He paid a price for it because the Utah guys put him on the floor.
Utah fouls on Hornacek, his third. Chicago ball from the side. Jordan wasting no time. Malone clears the boards. Howard Isley back in. Stockton to the bench for the moment for Utah. Jordan on Hornacek. Wennington came over. They sandwiched him. A bit of contact, but no foul call. Here's Harper. Wennington in at center for the first time today. Screening for Pippen. Harper outside. 2 baskets in a row for him.
Well, he's going to be the guy who's open because, Pippen has a mismatch with Keith. Jordan has a mismatch with Hornacek, and they're going to leave Harper open. He's going to be the guy that has to put the shots in the hole in this period of time here.
Harper with half a dozen. Contact away from the ball. And an offensive foul on the Jazz. It's Howard Isley's second.
Howard Isley comes up and he sets the back pick and he tries to hit Dennis Rodman. You'll see him set the back pick and he grabs his arm and Dennis spins off of him. But this is the type of stuff that gets Dennis going. He's the type of guy that needs contact. He's like Charles Haley was for the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys.
Jordan to the left hand with a bit of improvisation. And a whistle now as they scramble underneath. Wennington with his first foul on the rebound battle.
Now, if Michael would have made this shot, he'd have brought the house down. The 360 spin, left-handed off the glass. If that would have went in, they all would have left the building screaming.
It sends Malone to the line again. I asked you about Michael. What about Karl Malone? You carry a battle scar as a result of 42 stitches. I can still see it over your eyebrow. Courtesy of Karl Malone, and most people don't think it was accidental.
Well, Karl Malone apologized afterwards. I took it as being part of the game. He gave me a shot. I was coming to the hole. I wasn't going to back down. He wasn't going to back down. And I paid the price for it. And if I had to do it all over again, I would put my face right back in there because that's what it takes to win championships. You got to be able to put it all on the line. I got hit by a couple of guys, and, I got the wounds to show for it, and I wear it around as a badge of honor.
1 of 2 for Malone. He's got 27. The Jazz to within 1, and now the Bulls lose it. And Utah has a chance to take the lead.
Okay,
you had been going at it with Stockton prior to that, right? And Malone was kind of cleaning business up for his buddy, wasn't he?
Well, now that I gave you that old fluff answer, I'm going to give you the real answer, how I really felt.
All right, as Harper fouls Isley, go ahead.
We got a little thing going right here on the court. Rodman is going at it, and Harper's going at it with the referee. But I tell you, the way I really felt at that point in time, I didn't like the fact that Karl Malone came over and gave me the elbow, but when I look back at it, he was only doing what he was supposed to do. You know, Lambeer, Mahorn would have did the same thing for me. I was torching Stockton at the time, and, you know, he had to take me out. I remember Jerry Sloan playing for the Chicago Bulls when there was a little guy by the name of Gail Goodrich who played with the Los Angeles Lakers. He used to run the high pick and roll, and he came down the lane, and they flattened him. It was the same identical play. I got the Gail Goodrich treatment. I didn't like it at the time, but that's part of the sport. That's part of basketball. All is forgiven, and we go on.
Isley's 2 free throws gives Utah the lead. Didn't you come back and play in that game despite the 42 stitches?
Oh, I wasn't going to sit down now. You know, that's the tough part of you. You can't take the hit and then go sit down. Yeah, I came back and I played foolishly, I might add.
Carr rebounding the Harper miss. Here's Malone to the foul line for the jumper. In and out for him. Keith swats it back out to Isley. Thought about a 3, but no. Malone in the lane. 29 for Carl.
Nice pass by Howard Isley. The eye contact with Malone. He waited, saw him coming, and then he fed him. You know, that's the same play I taught him in camp when he was a camper at my camp.
Exactly. Jazz by 3. And it's over Wennington's head on the pass from Jordan, a Chicago turnover. The Bulls have lost only 1 home game this year. They're 21-1. The Washington Wizards beat them by 7 back in November. They're under 500 on the road, 9-11. Isley into the lane to Carr off his hands, and Rodman picks it up. So the teams exchange turnovers. Trailing by 3, back come the Bulls. Pippen to tie it, but no. Rodman. And Harper will set it up. Now he slices through. Slapped away and out of bounds, and it's still Chicago ball. But not before a timeout. 2:49 to play in the third. You're watching the NBA on...
Every day belongs to you. Make it count. Toyota every day. And by Nike.
Got Rusty LaRue coming in.
Utah sizzling from the floor in this third quarter, while the Bulls have hit just 35%. Chicago ball after the timeout. They trail it by 3. Wennington with room, and there's his first field goal. First in a while for him. He's been on the injured list.
Well, Bill Wennington can hit that shot. That's his favorite shot. He's a good 15, 12-foot square-up shooter facing directly on, and he can hit that shot coming off the pick and roll. He's not a very good post-up player, but he can hit the shot from the outside.
Rusty LaRue, the rookie from Wake Forest, is in. Isley with an off-balance shot. Carr has it. Hornacek up top for 3. And Jeff Hornacek, not bothered by the line being moved back, hitting 46% on his threes, swishes that one.
That's all-day music for Jeff Hornacek. You know, he can play that tune all day.
Here is Rusty LaRue, and the rookie cranks one up there, but it's no good. Keefe with the rebound. Jordan on Hornacek. Malone, 31 for Carl.
Yeah, Malone's just having his way in there with him tonight. You know, Wennington won't be able to guard him in no way. You know, he won't be able to guard him on the outside. He won't be able to guard him on the inside. What Phil's just trying to do right now is just buy some minutes for Luke Longley.
The Jazz by 6. Where do you see Utah fitting in the Western Conference? Could they come out of the West and then possibly meet the Bulls in the finals?
Oh, they definitely could come out of the West again. Not because they have the talent. You know, when you look out in the West, you look at, you know, L.A. and Seattle as a team who has the talent. But when you look at the savvy and the smartness and the experience of the Utah Jazz, they know how to win games at the end. They know how to hang around. And they have 2 guys in terms of Malone and Stockton that know how to finish games.
Kukoc converts them both after Keefe committed his first foul. Last minute and a half of the third quarter. Jazz by 4 and with the ball. Isley around Malone's screen, and he connects.
Just like I taught him at camp. You know, Howard Isley has had the same game since he was in 7th grade. His game hasn't changed any. He played the same way when he was in 7th grade, 8th grade at Boston College, and now here in the pros. The same methodical game.
Jordan finds LaRue. Rusty LaRue hits. Sounds like a guy in an old Tom Mix Western. Hi, I'm Rusty LaRue. How are you, Sidebuster? This town's not big enough for the two of us, says Rusty LaRue. Apparently not big enough for Kukoc and Adam Keefe either, as Keefe goes sprawling.
But what Utah is trying to be with Chicago's team, Utah is the physical team. Chicago is the finesse team. Utah is trying to rough them up every chance they get with their picks and their bodies. Chicago is trying to use their speed and agility to counteract that.
Adam Keefe, whose wife gave birth to twin girls only 4 or 5 days ago.
He's in trouble.
Well, maybe that Stanford education will help him cope.
I can tell you, he won't be getting no sleep.
Maybe it's easier to go on the road in that case. But actually, the stat sheet actually read, did not play, DNP, wife in labor. Here's Jordan with the feed to Weddington. Great assist for Michael.
For the next 2 weeks, you'll be reading about Adam Keefe did not play, lack of sleep.
If that was the case, Rodman would never play.
He doesn't have kids.
LaRue on Isley out near the midcourt line.
Oh, nice, nice.
Malone thinking about it. Now gives it up. 3 seconds to shoot. Isley 4-3 off the back rim. Malone. Carr, who didn't expect the pass. He was a little slow in reacting. Jordan. Got it off in time, but no good. After 3, Utah up by 4. And Malone winning the personal scoring duel to this point with Jordan. Wilson alongside that 38, leading by 4 as we enter the 4th. Of course, they led Game 1 here at the United Center in the finals last June. They led Game 6, which turned out to be the clincher for Chicago, by 6 going to the 4th.
Now, this is where the ghosts come out. This is where the demons come out. This is where your memory comes back. I'm sure Jerry Sloan told him that they were in the same situation a year ago. And let's see how they respond.
They almost lost it. Isley has to beat the shot clock, and he sticks it home.
That's the Detroit slow roller, Jake. That's the slow roller, Jake, when you shoot it real high and you have a perfect rotation on it. We call it the slow roller, Jake.
Rusty LaRue with a 3 that could have cut the lead in half, but it's no good. Isley, who has 10 points after the last basket, has the rebound here.
It's when the killer has to come out in Utah. This is where you remember the bad summer that you had. This is when you remember those sleepless nights.
Isley into the lane, up with the left hand, and what a contribution he's made.
Howard Isley, I'm telling you, that's the same thing we see in the summer in Detroit. He's had the same exact game. The same exact game. Hasn't changed anything.
Utah's biggest lead. They're up 8. Kukoc can't cut into it. And the rebound to a high-skying Brian Russell.
See, this is where the anger comes out in Utah. This is where you're mad at, because you were here last year and you're saying, okay, now let's finish them. And everybody is sitting on Utah's bench with that intense look on their face saying, let's finish these guys off right here and let's not blow it.
Russell's 3 is short. Rodman has the rebound.
They went for the knockout blow on there. You know, anytime you see him take a 3-point shot like that with an 8-point lead, you're going for the knockout punch.
LaRue just inside the line, and it's short. Rodman gives him another chance, and he's not shy, this Rusty LaRue.
But they put Rusty LaRue in the shooting. He's not shy about shooting. Even though he's got Pippen, Jordan, and Kukoc out on the court, he's putting up the shots.
Shandon Anderson to Antoine Carr. Jordan on Anderson. Isley over LaRue. Almost banked it home inadvertently, and Pippen has it. Russell got a piece of it, deflecting it to Anderson, but Jordan pokes it away from behind. Now look at Michael saying, okay, let's settle things down here a little bit. We're starting to get ragged. Rodman It was a 2 if it had gone. Loose ball to Russell.
You know, now nobody's mad at Dennis Rodman for taking that shot. You know, he gives up his body. He's in there fighting, and every now and then he's going to hoist one up like that, and they understand that.
Isley's pass was behind Carr, and a timeout with 9:10 to play in the fourth. A look at the leading scorers to this point. Nowhere on that list is Brian Russell, who's scoreless on 0 for 3 from the floor, including 2 missed three-pointers. To follow up on a point we were making earlier, Russell shot 41% on threes last year. With the line moved back, he's now at 29. For several players, moving it back a couple of feet took it out of their natural range. Russell is one of them. Michael Jordan's another, as a matter of fact. Longley, left-hand hook, no good. Isley for the rebound. Sprinting to the front court and finding Anderson, who was fouled as he went to the hoop. On the other hand, you've got guys like Reggie Miller, Jeff Hornacek here with the Jazz, Dale Ellis, who I guess could hit it from half court if he had to, the kind of stroke he has. It doesn't seem to have affected them that the three-point line is further back again.
But those guys that you just mentioned, they were upset that the line was moved in because they call that shallow water. You moved it into the shallow water where everybody can come into the pool and swim. But now where the line is at now, they call that deep water, and you can come out there and drown.
Well put. Judd Bushler is off the Chicago bench and in the game for the first time, wearing number 30. A short breather now for Michael Jordan. The Jazz up by 8, matching their biggest lead. Rusty LaRue is open, but it's short. Isley looking to push it, but Chicago got back and he'll set it up. Kukoc with the steal, and then he's fouled by Carr.
Nice defense by Tony. You know, he slipped. He gave the old football move where he slipped him and came around him. You know, now you got Steve Javie talking here to one of the officials. Now Steve Javie's a guy you don't want to mess with here, number 29. You know, I remember his game in Milwaukee. He had us. He threw me out of the game, Dumars out of the game, Chuck Daly out of the game. He even went in the stands and threw one of the fans out of the game.
But I noticed he came over and said a very pleasant hello to you earlier. Longley.
Well, after that, we had a good understanding. I understood not to mess with him.
So there seems to be a pattern in your life, Zeke. There are run-ins and then amicable understandings follow. Jordan, Malone, Javie, the list is long.
See, that ain't right. I just want you to know I'm going to get you back.
Here's Russell from the head of the key. And Brian Russell with his first field goal of the day. Our slate is clean so far.
No, you and I had our run-in too now.
Oh, that's right. You know, that's true. But that was years ago. Here's Pippen. Losing it to Russell. Isley on his left, bounces it to him. Brilliant pass by Russell.
But Utah's trying to kill now. You know, they smell it. You know, if you look at the bench, you know, all the guys are standing up. They're anticipating. They're waving the towel. You know, they smell it. This is what they wanted last year.
Utah by 10 with 7:19 to play. And here's the last play, which gives them the game's biggest lead.
You know, he's streaking up the court here. And Howard Isley, just like we taught him at camp, you know, finish strong, go up, lay it up, do what you got to do.
Back to 94, Karl Malone led them with 30 points, and they won 97-89, but you have to note that Utah won in Michael Jordan's absence. He was playing baseball at that time. The Jazz last beat the Bulls at home with Michael Jordan back at the old Chicago Stadium in 1990. Malone and Jordan each on the bench. Now Michael comes off the bench and he's back in as we resume. Ostertag goes spilling to the floor. Anderson comes out of the pack with the ball. Here's Howard Isley, who's had a big game, 14 points and 5 assists. Russell for three, and he hits this one.
He's swimming now. But when you talk about Howard Isley, you know, Howard Isley's a guy that when he comes back home in the summer, he's one of the last players who have clicked out on the court. He's in the gym with Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, Bashan Leonard, Derek Coleman.
Pippen with the jump hook in the lane, but Chicago still trails by 11. And right now, Malone, Hornacek, and Stockton are all on the bench.
This is a much bigger game for Utah than it is for Chicago. Utah is trying to overcome the mental demons that they have. You know, can Chicago hold them off? Can they finish them? Can they come back and make it a game? This is the same point that Utah was in last year.
Pippen guarded by Russell, who pokes it away and steals it. Russell all the way, missing, but Anderson follows. The basket is nullified. There's a whistle before he got it off. At least I think so.
You know, a little spark starts a fire, you know. He kicks a kick out here. Russell hits the three from deep water. And then he goes down court. Now he's feeling good about himself. Now he's going to play a little D. He's going to accept the challenge for Pippen. He's going to steal it and go down. You know, a little spark starts a fire. And now you see him right here on the free throw line.
The basket was nullified. Russell to the line. He makes the first of two. Carr out as Malone comes back in.
Now, if you're Carl Malone, what you're thinking right now, I'm coming back into the game, and I'm getting ready to put the nails in the coffins. The last 5 minutes of the game, I want to just hammer it home and kill the demons.
The Jazz by 13. Jordan can't cut it to 10 as he misses the three. Pippen gives it back to him. Michael to the drive, and it could be a three-point play.
Nice. What made it is he gave him the juke. You know, he juked Ostertag to the right, and then he went around him. You know, he got him off balance because he knows Ostertag is a shot blocker. Watch it here. You know, he come in, he give him the juke, he give him the fake. Now Ostertag's off balance, and he beats him. And let's take another look at it. Watch him get Ostertag out. You see him leaning right there? Now he's off balance now. And that's what you have to do to the shot blockers. You have to get them moving one way. You have to get their feet moving so you can throw them off balance.
Jordan with 26. The foul on Ostertag was his fourth. Isley out. Stockton back in. Stockton with 6 points and 9 assists. Isley has played brilliantly today, though, off the bench, allowing them to rest Stockton and not worry about it. Russell with another three. This one's long, and Long Lee has the rebound. Bulls down by 10. Jordan double team. Cross court to Kukoc. Out of the corner, Bushlet. Jordan taps the rebound to the side and out of bounds off Chicago.
You know, I can remember so many times when we were trying to overcome the Boston Celtics. We would be in the Garden trying to kill the Leprechaun, and we would be up 10 with 5 minutes to go, and Bird and McHale would somehow come back and ruin our evening. Let's see if Jordan and Pippen wants to keep that same type of mental edge on Utah.
Malone almost lost it. Chases it to near the midcourt line. And Stockton is stripped as Kukoc takes the steal. Pippen got away with something there. Kukoc's shot is way short. Pippen saves it into Jordan. Michael with a two that's long, and Pippen keeps it alive. Pippen got away with a hop, skip, and a jump a moment ago. Jordan into the lane, off balance, no good, and now it's Stockton. Anderson fills the lane, and Shandon Anderson has the basket plus the foul.
Yeah, that's great stuff there, you know, and like I said, all these guys from Utah, you know, they came in the summer and they're playing really good defense. Ostertag steps up. That was a no foul right there. You know, he's played good defense, and it leads to the other end. Under transition, you got Stockton coming down. He seals Pippen off, waits for Anderson to come down and gets fouled. Possible three-point play.
But he misses the free throw. So it's Utah by 12 with 4 minutes to play. Jordan Crossover. Into the lane for the slam.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. Oh, my God. Oh.
Are you all right, Zeke?
That hurt me. See, I would have spilled my popcorn on that one.
But they're still down 10. Malone. And he was fouled.
Okay, then forget what Malone just did. Let me try to explain to you what Jordan just did here. He gave him the crossover, then he shook him with the hop step, rise. Ugh. Oh man, you just got posterized. Oster tag, there's nothing you can do about that. See, that's Michael Jordan at his best. And this way everybody runs. See, the smart guys, they'll run away when they see him coming like that because they don't want to be on the poster. But see, Oster tag ain't been in the league long enough to know that he's supposed to move.
So if they make a poster out of that play, Oster tag plays the role of the foil.
Oh, that ain't going to be a poster. That's going to be video, NBA Today. We love you. Come fly with me. That's on everything.
Malone is 8 of 9 at the line. %90 today. And again, they lead by 12. Jordan trying to shake Hornacek, who fouled him. As Malone was at the line a moment ago, you might have heard the crowd counting down 10, 9, 8. Technically, you're not supposed to take over 10 seconds before launching a free throw attempt. And Malone milks it pretty much to the end.
He takes it right to the end.
A 3 by Kukoc is no good. It begins to look like Utah is going to leave here with some sense of satisfaction.
Well, there was no way that Chicago could match the intensity and the anger that Utah would come in and play with today. For Utah, this is their game 7. For Chicago, it really is just a regular season game.
Greg, thanks a lot. With the Super Bowl upcoming, if anybody in this building today can empathize with John Elway, it would be guys like Stockton and Malone.
Oh, most definitely. Those guys are chasing it. They've been chasing it just like, Elway has. And, there's nothing more special than winning a championship ring and being on a championship team. That's what you play for in sports. And I was listening to John Elway the other day. He said he'd give up all his money for the ring.
Scott Burrell in for the first time, buries a 3 out of the corner. He just checked in, hadn't played at all in the first half. But it's still a 9-point Utah lead. 2.5 to play. Malone over Rodman. And Rodman has the rebound. There's still time for a flurry. Pippen saving it to Burrell. They need to score almost every time down, but it's not out of the question. Burrell again. Can't hit a second 3, but Russell fouls Rodman over the back.
This game is not over. Funny things happen in games like this. A guy can hit a 3. You're down to 6 now with 2 minutes to go. And it's a difficult game then from that point on. Funny things happen in games like this.
Neither team over the limit. Bulls ball on the side. Jordan to the basket. Yes, and it counts.
Oster tag, baby. Don't you have cable? Again. It's the little fundamentals. Watch the fake, the jab to the right, comes in, sees Oster tag coming. The strength of Jordan to go over and finish the play. That's what makes him special. And there's the 3 points now. Now you got a 6-point game with 2 minutes to go. And now here come the demons again.
Poked away by Jordan. Stockton and MJ to the floor, and John saves it to Russell. Oster tag's open, and Burrell takes a good foul.
That might have been a 10-second call there. They got away with one there. But see, this is where the demons come out. This is where the things start to play with you. You got 5 minutes to go in the game. You up 10. You think it's safely away, and now here they come again.
So Oster tag trying to give him a bit of breathing room. A 12-point lead was cut in half on a 3-pointer from Burrell, and then a 3-point play for Jordan. Jordan now with 31 points. Malone has 33 for Utah. Big free throw for Ostertag. Ostertag has had some good playoff games in the past against the likes of Hakeem Olajuwon, Arvydas Sabonis. He played well in some of the games in the finals last year against Chicago. Signed a big contract before this season and just played atrociously in the first few months. Starting to contribute a bit more now, though, and he makes them both here.
Well, Karl Malone was very upset with him the way he came into camp. He felt that he hadn't conditioned himself properly, felt that he was overweight, and had got fat on a big contract.
Pippen, mismatch with Hornacek. Kukoc. Jordan. Ooh. Over Russell, who fouled him.
That was nice. You know, the freeze, the stutter step, the spin.
And you can't help but think when you see Jordan in a one-on-one situation with Brian Russell this side of the court, you can't help but think of the play that ended game 1 of the finals.
Yeah, but that was sweet. You know, the spin, the stutter step, the move, the fake out.
Big miss.
Yeah. You see, the energy you see for Chicago has picked up like the last 3 minutes. Like I said, it was impossible for Chicago to match Utah's anger coming in here. You know, Utah had to sleep with losing the celebration the whole summer.
They get it across against the pressure. Nursing a 7-point lead with 1:20 to go. Stockton. Out to Russell. Double pumps into the lane for Ostertag. Ball loose. Stockton comes away with it. And Chicago has it off the Jordan rebound. 1 minute to play. Kukoc hits the 3.
Now you got a 2-possession ball game here. If Chicago gets 2 stops and 2 scores, they can win this ball game and take it into overtime.
Utah by 4. Stockton around Jordan. And he comes away with the loose ball. The shot clock got reset, and that is the issue here. That's what has Phil Jackson up off the Chicago bench. There wasn't a shot taken. The ball was poked away, and the ball never hit the rim.
Yeah, if the ball didn't hit the rim, then it's a shot clock violation, and it should be Chicago's balls. If the ball hit the rim, then it should be Utah's ball. Let's see if it hits the rim. No rim.
I don't know that you can tell definitively from that angle. It might have grazed it. The game clock is at 32.7. For the moment, the shot clock, which had been recycled, is at 20.
Let's take another look at it from a different angle. I think it may have grazed the backboard, but I don't think it hit the rim.
It wasn't a true shot. The ball had been knocked away from Stockton, and he just batted it up toward the basket. But, of course, if it makes contact with the rim for any reason, then you would get a fresh 24.
That's right. If it makes contact with the rim, then you get a fresh 24. But if it didn't hit the rim, then it's Chicago's ball going the other way, and you got a shot clock violation.
They're watching this with great interest in Indiana. The Pacers beat the Jazz Friday night at Market Square. If Utah wins today, Larry Bird coaches the Eastern All-Stars. If Chicago comes back to win, that guy coaches the East.
I told you, I like to see Bird in a huddle with Michael Jordan telling him what to do.
And they're going to leave things as is. They'll say that the ball did touch the rim. It'll be Jazz ball with 32.7 to play in the game, and with 20 seconds on the shot clock. The Bulls now ask for time, and we'll be right back. While we were away, Steve Javie explaining what happened, at least in his view, to Michael Jordan. Javie then came over to us during the timeout and explained that at first he thought the ball had not hit the rim, and he was going to say that the shot clock should not have been reset. But his partner said that he had a better view and said he saw the ball grazed the rim. The shot clock was correctly recycled, and now Utah has the ball out of bounds with 20 seconds to shoot, and Jordan immediately fouls Stockton.
Well, see, this is where I believe that they should have instant replay in basketball in the last minute of the game.
Although a replay there might have proved inconclusive. Here's the big four. Stockton has contributed 9 assists. But misses the free throw, so it's still a 4-point game with 31.8.
See, I think in the last minute of a basketball game, just as the NFL has experimented with, you know, the NBA should experiment with it also.
Another Chicago timeout, and we again step aside. Collarbone, the Bulls are missing an important weapon. As you see, they've hit only 4 of 16 on threes today. Stockton makes the second of 2 free throws. Utah is 27 of 32 at the line today. They've shot 32 free throws as Pippen misses a 3 to only 13 foul shots today for the home team. Malone with the rebound. He's fouled, and Utah is close to putting this on ice.
Well, that's where you win basketball games. You win them at the free throw line. You go to the free throw line, you make your free throws, and you play solid defense, and you keep the other team off the free throw line.
How often do you think it's happened in recent years to the Chicago Bulls that the visitors have shot 2.5 times as many free throws as they have? Malone, who scored 33, has made 9 of 10 from the line. Larry Bird can start making hotel reservations in New York. Looks like he'll be there to coach the East February 8th at Madison Square Garden.
Larry live.
Come out,
And another timeout taken after Malone makes them both 11 of 12 for the afternoon at the line. Utah by 7 again. Next Sunday, the NBA on NBC continues with a doubleheader that begins with showtime at 12:30 Eastern. Then in Game 1, it's the Heat in New York. Pat Riley returning to the Garden as they go against the Knicks. Then in Game 2, Zeke, you and I will be at the Forum in Los Angeles. Michael Jordan and the Bulls facing Shaq and the Lakers. The NBA on NBC next Sunday at 12:30 Eastern Time. And you can continue to follow the NBA on TNT during the week. The Pistons and the Bucks from Milwaukee Tuesday at 8 o'clock. From here, the Bulls go on a 6-game West Coast swing that will take them to the All-Star break. They have relatively easy games at Vancouver and at Golden State and at Denver. Although the Nuggets won last night. They snapped their 23-game losing streak last night against the Clippers. But the Bulls have tough games in Portland, in Los Angeles, and they're in Salt Lake City on February 4th.
Well, for a veteran team like Chicago, who's been through so many wars, they look forward to going out on the road because they need something to kind of get them juiced up. You know, when they're here at home, it's kind of like on cruise control, but they look for challenges, and the road is a challenge for them. It's an artificial motivator to get them going.
Dennis Rodman should receive a warm welcome when he comes back to Salt Lake City on February 4th. He insulted most of the state during the finals and demonstrated that he may well have slept through theology class at Southeast Oklahoma.
It should be interesting to see if Utah can muster up the same type of energy and emotion that they've came here and played with today. You know, because Chicago will go to Utah and they'll have that motivation because they've lost here on their home court. And it'd be interesting to see if Utah 2 weeks from now or a week from now can come back with the same type of intensity and the same type of anger.
Well, they have one of the great home floor advantages in Salt Lake. Pretty much on par with what the Bulls enjoy here. That's a tremendous building where the fans are just into it from the opening tip. Here's Jordan, has to take the 3, and it's off. To the side, out of bounds, and who has it? Still Chicago ball.
Well, I'm glad Utah's going to win this game today because I'm going out with Jeff Hornacek's dad, and I didn't want him to be all upset at me. He gave me the paddle again.
Pippen from Rodman, and the three won't go. Stockton chases it to the side, and this one is over. They're not going to bother to foul him. They'll concede it. Only the second home loss this season for the Chicago Bulls, and the first time a Western Conference team has won here in almost 3 years. They had won 38 straight against the West before today.
This was a good win for Utah.
Let's go to Lisa Malofsky. Lisa.
Thanks, Bob. Carl, nothing short of playoff intensity today. The last time you played here at the United Center, the Bulls won their 5th NBA championship. How badly did the Jazz want to win today?
Well, I think the most important thing, the Bulls got a great team. And I think what you have to do is give you a separate opportunity. I think when you come here to play these guys, I think sometimes teams think they half beat before they step on the court. You got to play them like you do anybody else. This was just a regular season game. It take nothing away from last year. They won a championship. But if we can keep playing together as a team and doing what we're capable of doing, we'll be just fine. But it was a nice win for us.
Carl, did you circle this date before the season began as a game that you were looking forward to?
Well, I circled it, but I also said, God, this is the Super Bowl, too. That's what I was saying to myself. But I sort of circled and said, hey, we need to come out and prove that we can play with these guys. But I was also thinking in the back of my mind that I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl also. So it was a nice win for us. Take nothing away from those guys. But I think this right here can be a game that we can build on for sure.
Carl, thanks for joining us. Nice game.
Thank you.
Let's go back to Bob.